Good evening, YouTube. How's everyone doing? We have
Hey.
Pete of Newson's Reef with us tonight, who has a fantastic looking tank. I kind of stumbled across it on Instagram and I was like, that's a sexy tank. We need to get this guy on the live stream. So we're gonna dive into that, I think, hopefully in a lot of detail. And yeah, get going. So let's see who we have with us tonight. Beating John right in. Good evening, Scott.
Hello, Scott. How's it going?
Good evening, John.
Hey, John.
Terry Tech is with us. Good evening, Terry.
30 seconds.
Billy's Reef is with us. Good evening.
Hey.
Jason.
Lee.
I do
Hello,
this every
Lee.
week. I'm going to get it right one day.
You will. You'll get there.
Good evening, Anthony.
Hey, Anthony. It's usually me that's the worst for names. So
yeah.
it's
Good
nice
evening, Lee. Who else do we have? Good evening, Stephen.
Hello, mate.
Oh.
Good evening, Martin.
Hello.
Reef Keeper Wales. Now, this is the one that isn't Jason.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what he said his
I
name
want to
was.
say
though.
Owen, but I think that's
you're
way
right.
off. Really?
No, I think you might be right. Owen.
Don't know where that came from.
Okay. Well, if it's not, that's his name now.
That's a random name to pluck out of thin air, isn't it? It's not. It's not a John or a Steve.
Good
Hello,
evening, Rama. Good evening, Chris. Good evening, Gareth. And yes, look at that. You were right.
Hey.
It is Owen.
Hello.
And good evening, Economical Reefer, whose real name, I don't know. I don't think.
Don't think I know that one. Hello.
Tell us your name and we'll forget it a few times and then finally remember it.
That's how it goes.
So, Harry,
Hello.
you have been a very busy boy.
Yes, in dribs and drabs. I've been busy with work. So as and when I can, I've been working on, I suppose, a bigger project as a whole. But yeah, just doing little bits and pieces here and there as and where I can. I have some photos. If you would like me to pull them up, I can do so. Can I present them?
No, yes, just tell me what number you want.
Well, if you could do them in order for me, that would be fantastic. So going back a couple of weeks, first of all, I mentioned it in my latest video that I posted, so I'll just show that on here, as it's one of the many things I've been up to recently is just installing an under sink tap, which I'm really into. It's my new thing. It's my new little identity I've got going on. It's my filtered tap water. Even because we've got this basil plant that's sat on the windowsill and it's just getting so big. So what can I do with that? So I've started filtering water, putting it in these glass things, and then putting basil leaves in it, and it's really nice, fresh. I quite like an earthy flavour. So yeah, enjoying that. Sometimes with a bit of lemon. I think the next couple of pics are literally the installation. So I just teed it off the dishwasher.
Yeah. And you fitted all this yourself, yeah?
Yes, yeah. And then that's the tap. So the TDS reads 26 there, but it's actually now to 15 now that it's been running. So you get 15 TDS on tap, which is lovely.
Excellent.
And next up, again, a couple of weeks ago now, I finally, after probably about 2 years, actually installed a Reef Mat Nano onto my nano tank. It doesn't fit in the desktop cube by default. There was a 3D printed design that someone had already done that makes it fit in a Max Nano G2, I think. So I started with that, basically modified it to then make it work with the desktop cube. So this is the part that had to come out. You can see the little rubber pads that kind of held it on. And the next picture is the 3D printed part, or one of them. Which basically just feeds the water straight into the nanomat. So it all goes through there.
So is that a new weir comb with a attachment on it then?
Yes, correct. And then the little 3D printed part below it is what the actual nanomat sort of feeds into, slides into.
What tank's this one?
It is the Red Sea Desktop Cube. They were only on sale for, I think, like 6 months or something, and then seem to have disappeared. But essentially, they're like a Max Nano, but without the like back plate on. They don't have all the like fancy integrated sump and stuff. It's literally just a basic all-in-one system. And then the next one is,
Oops.
That I did that on purpose. It's just so badly done that it looks like an accident. I did it with a pair of kitchen scissors. I didn't want to go to the garage and get a hacksaw, so I just kept that until it went through. That is purely because where it sits in the sump, that disc that I've cut off sort of goes against the back glass, so it can't fully seat in. So by taking that off, it still has enough of a ridge that it sits in the nanomat and is able to like roll properly, but it doesn't have the big disc that sticks out and keeps it from seating properly. And the last picture is it in place, working hard and very quickly taking out a lot of, you can see where I even had cyano in there and blasted it all. And you can see, just how effectively that's working very quickly. I'll admit I did spend a good sort of 25 minutes trying to connect it to Reefbeat. And then I was looking it up and couldn't work it out for the life of me. Turns out it doesn't connect to Reefbeat. It's just an all-in-one.
I did the same on mine, I know as
well.
Did
you? There you go. Yeah. So I didn't know why it didn't connect, and that was why. From there, fast forward about a week or so, we discussed in the last stream. So it's just one picture. I did my little station for my doses, my trident there, and a calc stirrer. And then the shelf underneath houses all the dosing bottles. That is all part of making the tank sort of a little bit neater, safer, more self-sufficient if I were to spend more time away from the tank. And following on from there, I finally made the big hole through my wall that was a lot less big and scary than I thought it was. I put it off for months and months and months. But finally did it. You can see on the right hand side where there's a little protrusion. That is where the previous hole was. So there were two little holes that were tiny. So I made that bigger hole in place of them so that I can finally put my chiller, which is currently still in here on behind me and boiling hot and heating this room up. Thank you, Ron. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Ron.
Hello, Ron. So I made a bigger hole so I can put the chiller tubes through there and put the chiller outside. The next picture is a 3D printed thing, not my design. So the inner bit that you can see on the tube itself, I'm just using those. They're not quite a right angle, but they're nearly a right angle. That just helps the tube to curve around corners without kinking. That outer bit is what you'll see in a moment. It's a bit weird order I've done this in. Oh well. That outer bit is what you use on air conditioning units, so it just keeps all the pipes and tubes and electrics and stuff nice and tidy on the external wall. If I remove these pictures, do you want to play the video please, and then I'll get the last ones uploaded. I'll try and multitask. So those are baby chromis, which I've never seen in my tank before. Obviously, a lot of the time they're going to hatch on rocks and things like that, so you're not necessarily going to notice it. At first, I thought they were snails, like snail eggs, because I'm forever, seeing snail eggs on the glass. But I, sorry, just looked at comments. I started scraping them. It was, I started scraping them and then, realised that they were a little bit different, and also that one of my chromis was going absolutely mental at the scraper. Realised they were actually chromis eggs, and then I keep seeing males going up and down and fertilising them. So they will be hatching within the next couple of days and unfortunately get eaten or filtered out. I looked into what would be what it would look like to actually try and save and raise some of them, but I just don't have the capacity at the minute to have another tank and rotifers and phyto and everything dedicated just to that. I said I was going to multitask, didn't I? Let's
Yes. Well, while you're doing that,
Let's
let's say good evening to Roxanne, assuming Matt's with you as well. Good evening, Matt.
hello, both. Hope you're okay.
And Dan, UK's tallest reefer.
Oh, Dan
Good
the
evening,
Giant.
Dan.
Good to see you, Dan. Number 11 is something I did today. I just installed some electrics in my little outbuilding where the chiller is going to go, ready for said chiller. Again, this has all been across lots of days, just where I've been busy with work and stuff. The next one is the building itself, just in case you haven't seen it. And you can see just to the right where the tubes come out, and there's that trunking-esque stuff that isn't called trunking, where it goes in. Sorry, I'm still trying to upload photos. The next photo is all of my, oh yeah, no, it's not, it's that. So that is the intake to my skimmer that I need to put. I think I'm just going to use like some like tights, like some thick tights or something, an elastic band, just so nothing can get in there. And then next to it is my Trident waste tube, which I think I'll just put like an ice cream tub or something underneath it on the floor, and then I can just empty it down the drain as and when need be. The next one is my pretty tubes. That I have some 3D printed clips that I'll arrange all nicely, and they'll come into the house. And so they are for the auto water changes and other bits and pieces. Again, I've changed to the John Guest tubing because it was previously flexi tube. So that's purely just to make things a little bit safer and also color coordinated, so I can in a pinch know what's what and change things. It also means that I can have connections either side of the hole that goes through the wall, so that if I need to change or adjust something rather than pulling through the whole length, you can just swap out that little bit or do whatever you need to do. So it's a lot more practical. Nearly there. I think it's two more. So the next one is just the doses. As you can see, I've not finished making them all neat and tidy yet, but I'm just trying to get everything in place, ready to go. They're all currently not doing anything. I just want to get it right, so I'm just doing it over. Each day I'll do a little bit just so I can wrap my head around it. Because if I sit down and try and think the whole lot through and do it all at once, just at the moment I don't have the capacity. So little by little, and you can see the little plug I installed next to that as well. Although it's in the outbuilding, I wanted to go for a external waterproof socket, just in case. Obviously the IBC could leak or something could happen. So
you're not going to put your sump out there at all, or?
No, I don't think so. No.
Too much aggro.
It would be. I think if that little building was a little bit more substantial, it would. I mean, a sump room, you can't really go wrong, can you? It's kind of the epitome of reef keeping. It'd be awesome to have a dedicated space for all your equipment, and then literally just have a beautiful display.
Definitely.
Be awesome. And then the last one, this is just some bulkheads, but my goodness, was that a task. Obviously, as you can see, they're at the bottom of an IBC, which there's no way you can sort of reach in and do. So it was a lot of magnets and strings trying to contort them into place. Then realised I had the washers on the wrong side, so had to try and feed them through the hole whilst holding. It was mental, but got that done eventually. Oh my goodness, you've got the video. Okay, so this is how I did it in the end. I had blue tack that I shoved into the bulkhead itself. This is me swapping over the washers. Shoved a screwdriver into the blue tack and hoped and prayed that it would stay connected to the screwdriver.
How did you do that, Harry? You've got 3 hands.
Oh yeah, that's my third hand.
And then you're also holding a camera.
This must have been about midnight, wasn't it? And I was talking to Stephen Ron, and I was saying, I can't take these out again. I've just spent hours trying to get these through, and now realised that both the washers are supposed to be on the inside rather than one on one side and one on the other, which was the logical thing in my mind. But turns out it wasn't. So you can see here precariously pushing that through and crossing everything, hoping for the best. Then pushing the washer through the hole, and somehow
I was quite impressed with this.
I don't know how I managed to do both of them without dropping either of them. Nothing like that tends to happen to me. There's always something that goes wrong. So yeah, I was quite shocked that both of them actually worked. They stopped leaking once I put that on the other side, but I did then put some aquarium silicone, which you may have seen in the last picture, around both of them, just to make sure that they weren't going to leak when they've got all the head pressure of a full IBC. But yeah,
How many litres is the tank you got there?
So that IBC is 400, I believe, and then the one with the seawater in it is 1,000 litres.
Wow.
And the 1,000 litre one is connected to my main display for auto water change, or will be once I turn it all back on.
Okay.
And then the other DOS actually changes the water between the big tank and the little tank. So they're both essentially getting automatic water changes, but I do still like to do a manual one every now and then, just with the gravel vac, because I've always stirred up my gravel. So yeah, I'm continuing that for the moment. I do keep wondering if to stop, but for the moment I think it's the right thing to do. There's always loads that comes out when I do stir it or gravel back it. So yeah, I'm going to continue for the moment. I think
it's quite enjoyable doing a manual water change anyway, I should think, as well. It's a good time to observe areas 100%. Of the tank that you don't normally look at, isn't it?
Yeah. Bang on. Yeah, sorry, this is a really slow video. I didn't want to obviously rush it, but you get the point. That then screws on and success, basically. And then I did it a second time. So yeah, that's what I've been up to. As you say, been quite busy, but hopefully it's all worth it in the end. I think I mentioned on the last stream I've added like a few more optical sensors and just redundancies, and things like my ATO that sits here, 25 litres, is now hooked up to the main IBC, but I've set it at the moment that the DOS transfers, I think, 3,000 mil, so 3 litres a day, which will be less than my evaporation currently. But I'd rather do less than too much. Automatically, puts that into my ATO that's here. So rather than being directly fed by 400 litres of RO, there's actually only 25 ever hooked up to the tank, and then that's hooked up to the
very good idea.
So that's me. Sorry, that was very, very long. Taking up loads.
That's okay. Like I say, you've been very busy, so I knew you had a lot to update us on. Good afternoon, Travis. Hope
Hello,
you're well.
How's it going?
Been a while.
What have you been up to this week, Steve?
I haven't done a huge amount. Not much has died this week, which is a good start.
Very good.
In fact, I don't think I've lost anything. I've moved the Cataphilia down to my sump because it's still not looking massively happy. And I thought, you know what, there's nothing that can bother it down there. So I'll put it down there and just give it time to chill out. So I've done that. And then I had that message.
Yes.
And I've had so many issues with my Trident. It's been unbelievable. So I thought, right, I've got it in a little mini Trident case. It's much easier to work on. I'll have a look. And I don't know. I think it's going to be this video. So you can hear it kind of stalling a little bit.
Sounds like the original KH keeper.
There, look. It's making a noise, but it's not turning. So I don't know whether it's the controller, the stepper controller on the main board, or the stepper motor itself. I think if I was a betting man, I'd put my money on the controller chip. So I messaged the amazing people at Exodus, who managed to fix my XR30 that I sent for a swim, and said to them, can you repair Tridents? So this evening I spent about 3/4 of an hour trying to get the trident back in the original trident housing. That's a pain in the ass. And that's now in a box on the floor over there. I'm going to ship it back to them tomorrow, and hopefully they can fix it, because talking with Ron, and he's saying, "Oh, I've got 3 tridents and they're faultless. I love them." I'm like, mine's a pile of shit. It's always going wrong. It's always giving me incorrect readings, or reagent A failed, test A failed, or B, or no water. Something is always going wrong with it. And I've done a service kit and things on it, but I thought, I wonder if this step motor has been failing gradually for a long time. And that's why it's just been a complete disaster for me. So I thought, one last try with Trident. I'll send it off, get it repaired, put it back on, and if it, hopefully it'll go back in and it will blow me away. But we'll have to wait and see. But that's pretty much all I've done. And let me have a look back on my pictures that I grabbed. Steve. Yeah, that's it. That was all I got.
Have you sent off another ICP since you dosed the K elements or overdosed?
No. That was really bizarre, because the last one I sent off, I think I mentioned to you the other night, Pete, that I'd managed to put like 400 or 500 mil of Tropic Marine K in the space of an hour and a half into my tank.
Yeah, it's never going to have a great outcome, is it?
No, but weirdly, I did 100 litre water change that night. Then I had to wait for my RODI machine to make another 100 litres. The following morning, I did another 100 litre water change, and then I left it making water all night. Then the next day I did another 50 litres. Then I did an ICP, and the only thing that came back as high on the ICP was strontium.
And what sort of levels was you looking at?
I will grab it and share it.
That is pretty crazy, isn't it? Considering I know both of us have had a similar experience with dosing A and K. That you definitely, well, I'm not going to say definitely, because obviously every tank is different, but we've both found that dosing a fair amount more than the suggestion on the bottle, but I would assume that's more of a starting dose, and then you've got to find your own way with it from there. But yeah, definitely do have to dose quite a lot bit for it to then show up on ICP.
So the things that stood out in this test were the strontium, like I mentioned. Here we go. The desired level is 10 milligrams per litre, and I had just short of 15. So
I wouldn't be too concerned at that sort of levels, really. Not everything else. What you started off at, I suppose, to be fair. But.
Yeah. I mean, I think I was a bit like these other ones. I was in the green, probably towards the lower end, but yeah, everything in the green. There's some here, chromium, cobalt, they're a little bit low. I mean, they're all vanadium and zinc are a bit low. Nitrate's good. Nitrite is good. And then phosphate was through the roof, because I disturbed my sand. And 0.39 for phosphate's not a good place either. But those were the only things. It was phosphate and strontium. Nothing else was off at all.
High.
And I was expecting it to be all of the K elements, and I was expecting them to be like, I was expecting to get a phone call like, "Are you sure you've sent us tank water?"
Makes you wonder how strong the product was in the first place, though, doesn't it? If it's not built it up that much by putting 500 mil in.
Yes. Yeah. So Kumar's just asked, do I use a strontium-rich salt? I use Nios Pure. I don't know whether it's that strontium rich, but the reason I had high strontium is because I put 500 ml of Tropic Marine K into my tank in the space of half an hour, or sorry, like an hour. So yeah, not a good move really. Yeah, that's about it for what I've been up to. So I think it's about time we took a look at the main man's tank. I will. So I've got a load of questions, but I think before I launch into my questions, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play the little video that I made from the video and pictures that you sent me, just to give people a bit of a taste, and maybe we'll talk through it, and feel free to put any commentary over the top of it as well.
Yeah, no problem. That's Prime. That one is from Signature. Torture picked up Cressata.
Nice.
One of the rare ones. I've got a couple of those actually going.
Wow.
That's my Walt Disney.
Beautiful.
Bit of a pride and joy in the tank. This one we've called it Space Cake. Come from a local reefer. Just gave me a little cut in, who shut down now, unfortunately. Same one again. What was that? That one is Firecracker. And the Hoochie Mama just in front. That's sort of some of the collection of gonnies that I've been collecting over the years.
Yeah, you've got some very nice gonnies.
Yeah, some lovely ones.
This is really nice and grown out.
Yeah, it's a bit of a work in progress. I kind of changed the tank earlier in the year, sort of, it was January time. I took a lot of the faster growing acros out because there was just problem is I just don't think you can really have fast growing and sort of the slow growing nicer pieces all in the same tank. Well, you can, but you've got to expect that you're going to end up losing a few of them from growing over. So I just decided at that time, the tank was 6 years at that time. So I decided, right, that's it. Just take all the easier stuff out, move them on, and just sort of more concentrate on the nicer sort of parts, really, and just add the stuff that I really want to put in the tank. It does make it sometimes a little bit more slower growing, and you're waiting for stuff to grow, but it's what it is, and it is sometimes a bit of a gap there in the middle. I've had a bit of a flow issue in that middle area. It's quite hard to get flow in there. Bit of a design fault of my own, really, but nothing a new tank that's a bit bigger won't sort out, to be honest.
Yes, I like your thinking.
So don't change the flow, change the tank. Much better idea.
Yeah.
So I just like collecting bits, really. I sort of, if I see something I like, I generally just get what the bits that I want to get, and maybe frag a few bits and add a bit towards that, just try and do it that way, really. And
you've got quite a few torches in that system.
I did actually have a lot more at one time. There was around, I think, 14 before. I've now got quite a few of them in the Nano.
Yeah. Wow.
But just trying to keep the nicer ones within this.
And what is that, 4 foot tank, is it?
It's 4 foot, 4 by 2 by 50 centimeters deep.
Okay.
Nice. What do you attribute your success with torches to? I think I'm in a minority, but I've, for whatever reason, in both my tanks actually, find torches harder to keep than, say, tenuous. But I really struggle with torches, and I wondered if you've got any tips.
I think they like a little bit of nutrients.
That could be it.
I think if you run it too low, I keep my nitrates around about between 15 and 20 most of the time. Phosphates, I can be anywhere. I tested it yesterday, it was 0.6, but I think I overdosed a little bit on the PhosRx. But I normally try and keep it around the 0.1 to 0.15. But it depends really. But I've always had high nutrients. I've always had a lot of fish. I do feed a lot, so I do think it does keep it up a little bit. But I think that's a lot of it. Good flow on them as well. I'm actually got a Cressata in there, a green one at the moment. It's half stripped at the moment, so I wouldn't say I'm doing great with them. But Cressatas are, Crisatas, they're not the easiest of the torches to keep, but I managed to pick one up and I thought, you know what, I'll give it a try. I'd never had one before. Again, I like trying things I've never kept before, you know, which is my nano is anything I've never kept before. Fish wise, I try and keep in there, and you know, it's a little bit of an overflow of the sort of stuff that I wasn't so keen on in this tank now. Moved it on to that one. That torch in the middle, you can see. That little one there, that was actually a spawn in the tank. Can't really see it actually because it's a bit dark now, but that spawned over the back of the tank. And then, yeah, when I moved it, I put it towards the front. There's only probably 5 or 6 polyps at the time, tentacles. And now we've got 3 heads on it. So, yeah, it's doing quite well. Quite pleased with that one. So, little 3 gold 24k torch, really.
That's a nice success story, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, my nutrients definitely run low, and both my tanks, I struggle to maintain nitrates above 5. So I think that paired with possibly an Australian stripey and a filefish.
They're
suspects.
Yeah, they are known to eat torches as well. A friend of mine actually had lost a few torches for his filefish, but actually I've got a orange spot filefish in my nano tank. That's what I'll put that with. I've actually got aquapora in there with it. I don't keep anything like stylophores or anything like that because they are known to have a bit of an attack of them, but they've been pretty good with a few different acros, not touched any torches. Strangely, it likes green and purple frog spawns.
Okay.
So don't know why, but anything green and purple that goes in there, and you'll be on it. But other than that, pretty good. So I think definitely nitrates is one. I've bottomed it out a few times in there and lost the odd head. So as soon as you start bringing it up, you just see the flesh bands start going back down again. So I do think try and keep your nitrates up around 20, 15 to 20. Don't let it drop much lower than that. And you know, generally you do all right with torches. I usually find they start melting if it gets low. That's what I've noticed. And you just see the recession on the flesh bands. You'll sort of see the white of the skeleton as opposed to the flesh band. And that's the usual telltale sign. And then that's it. I know they're not really. Maybe should start testing that tank as well. So
So Liam, good evening, Liam, says
hello, mate.
Gorgeous tank. He keeps calling you. He says you look like Harry Hill. So he's calling you Harry. I said people will take the piss, didn't I?
There you go.
Yes, excellent.
She's TV burp, dude. It's a throwback.
Well, thanks for the comment there. It's I've been reefing. I started 2001. Had a little Rio 180 dual tank, just a little canister filter on it. To be honest, my water change regime, and I used to literally let the tank come down to about here before I put the top up. No auto top up. But to be fair, I've done all right of it. It's I look back, it was probably the best pulse coral tank you could get. There's a lot of soft corals. Let's be honest, it was everyone's first tank, but it ran for 9 years. I had some of the fish right from the start to the end, and I actually gave up probably for about 4 years after I got rid of that. Moved. My kids were, just starting to get sort of, well, they would have been about 8 or 9 then. So, money was a little bit more scarce. So I moved the tank on. Was running on Hallards, so the electric bill was sort of quite heavy. Why I had Hallards on a soft coral tank, I'll never know, but you live and learn, don't you, from your experiences. And so then I started, I went on to a Signature 600, the little, one of the TMC ones, and I had that for about 6 or 7 years. And then this one I started 6 years ago, just around COVID time. And sort of done that. And as I say, remodeled it after 5 years, which was earlier this year. January time, I think that was. And here we are now.
6 years ago, COVID time. That didn't make sense in my head until I realised.
You actually realise it is, didn't you? In fact, it's a little bit longer than that. 19. It's nearly 7 years ago now. So
I was talking to someone at work, and the company that I work for got bought out by an Icelandic company in 2006, and we were talking about it. I'm like, hang on a minute, that was 20 years ago.
No, it goes too fast, doesn't it?
We've got Daz with us as well, Darren McGinty. Good evening.
Darren,
Good to see you.
You all right, Darren?
And Economical Reefer said, how's the pink highlighter getting on?
Oh yeah, that's doing really well. I've got that. That's up the back there. I can't get none of the pink out on it at the moment, but since I've gone over at Stratton's, very strangely, a lot of the Tenias that have got blue tones to them has actually lost a lot of their other colours that I was getting with the Radians. Although slowly starting to get it back on one of them, but that one it's not pulling the pinks yet, but I will get that. It'll come back. Just Aquapora like we all know what Tenias are like, so yeah, that'll come back. But yes, it's looking all right. Polyps are doing well. Got a few branches coming out of it now, so yeah, fantastic.
Very nice. So you've had the tanks up 6 years, but you said a minute ago you kind of rearranged everything in January.
Yeah, basically I'd done obviously a dry scape as you do to get it as nice as one, and then I'd obviously put, it's like I'll put that one there, I'll put that one there, and when it all started growing, it weren't really growing in the right spots. I had stuff growing over the top of each other. I had a big rainbow loom that was about 10 inches across, and that was just literally taking everything out. So yeah, it was just a decision to be made, make it a little bit more acro friendly. I didn't really have a lot of sand space either because of the sort of the layout of the rocks was kind of sort of more sort of coming across the tank as such, going sort of right back. Didn't really have much of an undercut anywhere. So yeah, just decided that, let's have a bit of a change. Nice to have a change sometimes as well. So yeah, I did it all with live rock. I did actually most of it in the tank. This little part here where the torch is on, that I've made outside because all these torches are on little pegs, so I can take them out. But I sort of molded them all into the rock, so it looked a lot more natural.
Nice.
And then actually the whole thing is actually only 5 pieces altogether. So when I do eventually do an upgrade, then I can literally just take all 5 pieces out and just move them across within 20 minutes, half hour. So yeah, hopefully it should work quite well. We'll see though. Like none of the bits fall off and scratch the new glass when it gets it.
Yeah. Is that the second or third time we've mentioned upgrade so far?
Yeah, well, I'm hoping she's listening, but
Well, and
no,
I
probably will next year, to be fair. But,
I picked up. You said I don't want to scratch the new glass guy. I mean, it sounded like you'd ordered the tank.
It's in there at the moment,
Okay.
but we'll yeah.
How exciting!
Yeah, so it'll be maybe next year. So my daughter's getting married next year, so we'll see on that one as well. So
wedding present.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Good idea, actually. Yeah, she can have that tank, and I'll have to get myself a new one.
Brilliant.
Another question from Liam: have you had any issues with Aussie torches being close?
I don't know if it's Aussie torches or not, to be honest with you. If we're talking the little Cressata type one, I think there was actually Indio, because I did message the people I got it from, and they said it was off an Indio shipment, but I don't think, I mean, from what I understand is compatibility issues, but to be honest with you, I've always put torches together. There's only a few torches that I've had issues with, and actually the times that I have found that there's more issues is when they're growing and they're trying to expand out, and then they're fighting for room. So I think when they do that, I think that's when they decide that they're going to sting whoever's next to them. I think it's actually the closeness that you're putting them together more so than actually the torches fighting amongst themselves. So I don't know on the Australian, the Indio thing, to be honest. I've never encountered it personally, but then to be honest, I don't know if they was Australian or Indio to begin with, if that makes sense.
I think in his message I read info, but he meant to write Indo.
Oh yeah, sorry.
He then went and said Indo, not Indo or Oz.
Yeah, no. So but yeah, I whether you get issues with them, I've got Cressatas next to regular torches, they're touching, not had problems. I've got a Tiger torch in there, they're touching, no problems yet. We'll see when they get bigger. As I say, I think it's more of a bit of a get out of my way type thing, if you know what I mean. So I think that's probably what causes more issues with the torches. The one that I did have is a Jester, whatever you like to call it. That was one that I have found quite aggressive. But again, that really grew fast and it had really long tentacles. So when you get the long tentacles, it's just going to sting everything. So, you know, I think they don't care, do they, at that point? So I just want the room, like anything, that everything on a reef is fighting for space. Like, you know, whether that be aquapora, whether that be millipora, torches, gonnies, you know, my gonnies, a lot of them, they all sit next to each other, they go into each other. But for pushing too close, you start seeing the swollen petals on the heads, and you know they're having a little fight then. So just separate them a little bit and they usually go back fine. So
yeah. Good evening, Julie and Paul.
Hello, how you doing?
oh, you're right.
I don't think we heard what make or builder your tank was that you've got.
It's aquariums for life.
Okay.
Just the top glass. So I had a the Evolution Aqua.
Yep.
So, and I actually bought it second hand, again during COVID, and went and picked it up, brought it home, and I put it in the garden there to quickly take the van back. And I left it in the sun, and the sun didn't make very fine to the glass, and I ended up with a big crack across the bottom of it.
Oh.
Whether I'd put it on something, I don't know. It was on foam, but yeah, and come home from work or come back from dropping it off from work, and yeah, had that issue, and so yeah, decided just to get a aquariums for life one made, just a top glass. So I used the original Sunken cabinet and just had it made for it. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, good, really good build quality. Yeah,
So I think
recommend them.
didn't Evolution Aqua, were they not the company that D&D bought?
Yes, that's
And based
correct.
the
Yeah, they
D&D
did eventually go
tank.
into those, and obviously now being bought out again by Red Sea.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. We've kind of talked upgrade. If you were going to just completely start again, what would you do differently compared to how you've got set up there now?
What would I do different? Don't know, actually, to be honest with you. Maybe go with some cheaper corals, to be fair.
Yeah, but I don't think they would have the impact that
No, I
your
think you're
tank
right.
has.
Yeah, I think it's just I like the collectability of stuff, really. Sort of like Pokemon cards, and it is try and find all the best ones, you know. And sorry, my dog keeps pouring. Yeah, I don't think I'd do too much different. I've got a little Cavalier King Charles, got 3 of them. So yeah, he's now licking my legs. So just trying to keep him from knocking the chair with the phone on it. So yeah, so no, I don't think I'd change too much, to be honest with you. Maybe just make things a little bit more accessible, and like the wiring, and you know, and just trying to sort of do things more like that, really, more so than, I mean, in the tank I probably wouldn't change anything. The fish, I've always, you know, I've picked all the fish that I've wanted. I've always with this tank, I've never gone into a fish shop and gone, oh, I'm just going to go and buy a coral today, which I do miss, to be fair, because I used to love that when I first started. You know, you walk into any shop, it was exciting, and you just want to buy something. It didn't matter where it was, whether it's compatible or anything, especially back in the early days on my first tank. And, you know, a lot of Regal Tang in a 1 meter tank, you know, but he lived for 9 years and it done all right. And, you know, yeah, nowadays I wouldn't do that, but, you know, I think just, yeah, try and keep things compatible. But yeah, other than that, no, I don't think I'd change anything really, just to make things a bit easier in terms for myself, in terms of running the wires, you know what I mean, trying to get the wire around and get all the tangles and all that lot. And I do try and sort it out, but we're all the same. It all ends up a bloody mess again after anyway. So it doesn't, you know, you try and tidy it up, and the second you want to do something, it's all messy again.
Yes. That's the way it goes. How long have you had your copper band in there, just so it's swim past?
That one is 2.5 years now.
Awesome.
Nice.
So yeah, done quite well with that. That was from Tony at Coral Passion.
I was just about to say, did it come from Tony?
Yeah, Tony's you know, I mean, everywhere does great ones, but Tony really sort of works on his copper bands. Obviously, it was fully feeding when I got it. And to be fair, when I've gone to other shops, I've seen their ones fully feeding. But I think he tends to get settled with a lot of other fish. And the tanks that he had were quite big tanks, so you had a lot of fish in them, and there was a lot of movement. There was a lot of wrasse, a lot of this and a lot of that. But they were feeding. So
Yeah.
as long as you can continue that. And I've always tried to keep all the fish in here quite calm fish as well. Like I've only got the one tang, and that was the last fish that I added in. Everything else was I've always just put everything in, you know, slowly. And as I say, I'm not a chuck loads of fishing in one go person. I like to do the, you know, it's a hobby that I like to keep working on. I don't, you know, when people go and they go and buy a load of colonies, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. You know, for me, it's just not really an interesting part of the hobby. You know, I can make a tank with loads of colonies, but then what are you going to do after you've done that? It's not,
Yeah.
you know, and the same goes for the fish. I always go in the shop and I'll pick the smallest one. And the same for the corals as well. Every single coral that I've got in that tank is grown from a 1-inch frag, from, you know, from signature to AAC to local reefers, to everywhere. And I do try and limit where I get my stuff from as well. I'm not I don't pop to every single shop just trying to get loads of different stuff. I just very selective, which I think you have to be with a 4-foot tank anyway, to be honest.
Yeah.
Of course.
We were talking about copper bands a minute ago, and talking about Tony. I think he has a lot of success with them, doesn't he? I believe he has a different sourcing and
yes, I believe he does. Not sure how he gets it, but I think it's the way they're collected as well.
It's almost direct, fish, I think.
I think that's probably more what it is. But a stress fish is never going to do very well in any tank. You know, I've added fish in tanks, and you know, you can see they're stressed straight away, and you know, 2 weeks, and that you know, you haven't got them anymore. You know, so again, that goes back to where I like to try and keep everything a little bit calmer, the fish a little bit calmer. You know, I just think it goes to your favour. You know, when people put 20 tangs in a tank, it looks absolutely amazing, and it's lovely in a big tank, but you know, you can't do it in something like this. It's just never going to work, and it's never going to end well, you know.
Yeah. So we've got some questions here, and we've got a few that are kind of linked together. So Economical Reefer asked, did you start with dry rock or seeded? But you said you started with live, didn't you?
No, I actually started with dry rock originally, which obviously gave me the usual dinos, just about every problem under the sun. You know, I tried to obviously stop all the pests. So within about a month, I had that taser and bubble algae. And again, just added the right things into the tank to deal with the pests. And I don't actually, like now, I'm not actually that worried about pests really, unless it's aquapora eating flatworm. And even then, you know, there's just stuff that you can deal with it. You know, I don't quarantine or anything like that. It goes back to the selectively buying from the good places. You know, your decent shops around. That makes a massive difference, I think, to any reefing.
And then Martin had picked up on the bit where we're talking about live rock. So he was asking what adhesive did you use to stick it all together?
So what I did, I actually used quite a big parts of the original skate that I made. One of the parts, which a friend of mine, Dennis, he helped me take it all out one day, and it was a massive piece that probably come to this side. It's here, had the big rainbow loom on it. So we lifted it out, smashed it up, and then I just rearranged all the rock work how I kind of wanted it. And then I just bought a load of branching rock from the live stuff. And then I just basically add it. And I'll tell you what, it's so good to work with, because you can just add it onto scapes and it kind of all just locks together. And then I kind of used it to lock together. And then how I did it was I kind of managed to lock it in, and then I was using cable ties just to hold things down. It was difficult to do, don't get me wrong. It was, you know, it's not a 5-minute job, and then what I found was actually using tiny little bits of putty was the best way. So I'd cable tie it on day one with a couple of little bits of putty, just holding it where I wanted it. And then the next day, once that putty had gone off, I kept the cable tie on it, maybe just tighten it a little bit just to keep the rocks in their positions. And then I'd mix up a nice bit of putty, and then I would squeeze it round, and then I'd get a little bit of rock and sort of hit the putty to make it sort of bobbly, and sort of try and blend it in to allow the like coralline and stuff to attach to it a little bit more. Because I tend to find if you do it a bit too smooth, I I find it hard, or I think the algae finds it quite hard to grip onto it. Same as actually the base out of acros, because tend to find if you break them off, you end up with the putty still in the tank, and all the base out that was sitting on top of the putty will just come off generally. So you kind of like, I use it kind of like that as a primer as such. So, but yeah, it was quite easy to do, to be fair. I probably wouldn't want to look at it from the back because it's probably big lumps of putty behind it and stuff like that. But I don't see any of that, so it doesn't really matter, you know.
They do look really nice and natural as they are. Yeah.
I mean, the only thing with branch is expensive, as we know, to buy, but it is, you know, it's fantastic work. And if you're doing a sort of more of an aquapora tank, then yeah, the branching stuff is fantastic to work with, because not only that, it helps with your branching out. So as the coral grows down, it's not growing into anything else. And where I'm doing the sort of like slower growing bits, if I can see something growing towards it, thanks very much, done. That's it. And just keep everything nicely trimmed, and you know, you haven't got to go too mad with it, really.
Excellent. What did we? There was another question. Yeah. So Lee was saying, where do you go for corals, and what's your regular maintenance?
So corals, I use AAC for corals, Signature, and local reefers. There's a good group of people in Essex that we there's quite a few acro keepers that I know, really good ones. So we get bits, you know, we swap bits, we'll help each other out. You know, I've got quite a few insurance pieces out there in their tanks, and they've got quite a few in mine. So kind of I think, you know, community reefing is, you know, massively important within the hobby. And I really like to try and promote it. Is a few of the guys, is me, Dennis, Gareth and Paul Longhurst. We help run all the Essex Reef Club, which again I think is really important. You know, it's just silly things like if someone's pump goes, you know, type it on WhatsApp group. I've got a pump I can borrow. Yeah, I've got one in so and so just down the road. You know, and it helps everybody, and you know, it benefits everyone. And you know, if there's good deals at a shop, it goes straight onto the WhatsApp group, and you know, next thing everyone's down the shop buying all them bits, as long as they let me know first, obviously. But yeah, so in terms of shops wise, Signature AAC specifically for corals. Fish is only AAC, apart from the copper band, which was from Tony. So that's it. Maintenance wise, well, I actually didn't really used to do water changes. I do like one every 6 months or so, but only like 60 litres. But in sort of probably the last 3 or 4 months, I've decided to sort of just try and improve my water qualities a little bit more. I can be a little bit lapsing in maintenance, as we all do. So I've just decided that I was going to start bi-monthly changing. I've done an OCMO ICP a little while ago, and actually come back a lot better than what I thought. Okay. So I've actually now just changed that to once a month. I just do a 60 litre water change, which works well. My nano I do every other week, but I feed a little bit heavier in that because of the fish that are in it. So I had a few pipefish, and obviously I've got my orange spot fowl, which actually, although they're a coralivore, they do eat a lot of shrimp. And actually, I think there's a lot of misinformation about that fish. Actually, I think it's a fish that's not kept very much. So, you know, I've had it now 16 months, and it's not, it's only pecked a few things, nothing too bad. And as long as you keep it fed, you know, I think there would actually be quite a good addition. And I think if I ever do, I may try it in the acro tank. But they are quite easy to catch with there because they actually sleep in the aquapora. And actually, again, I don't think they actually eat them as much because it's not beneficial to them to eat it.
Yeah.
So, and actually, Michael Paletta, I know he's got them in his acro tank. So, which tells me that, you know, if he's doing it, then, you know, he knows a lot more than what I do.
I suppose if you're feeding heavy in there as well, or heavier. You know,
yeah, that's right. There's plenty of food source in there, and you know, if you're always full up, you're not going to want to eat anything else, are you? It's kind of a bit of a logical way of looking at it.
Unless you're a stripey.
Unless you're a stripey, yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. Or a copper band in an LPS tank.
So Martin also asked, what brand of putty was it you used?
I just used the mini putt stuff. That or the D&D stuff, I think they're all pretty. To be honest,
Yeah.
they're probably all made in the same factories. To be
They're
honest, with
probably
you.
all the same. Yeah. I tried the TMC stuff. That's
Right,
like it's like a red outer shell with a white core. So the two part is there, and you just cut a slither of it off, and then
Oh,
that's
okay, yeah.
it's the right ratio. And I found that
Cool.
actually really good. I quite like
Never
that.
seen that.
But
Smart.
I got it as a freebie from, I can't remember whether it was at a show or something. I got some, and yeah, I thought it was brilliant. I've never seen it for sale anywhere. But yeah,
Great idea.
Yeah, I'd say I just try and keep it simple, really, with stuff like that. It's just any old product, it doesn't really matter, to be honest with you. They're, they all do the same job as far as I'm concerned. Same as like a lot of the dosing products as well, in essence, they all do the same thing. So,
yeah,
they're all adding the same stuff. So, yeah, I personally use like Coral Essentials. I have done for about 5 years. Just an easy way for me to do it. I mix everything to my ICP, so actually all my dosing solutions are all customized. So it does make it a lot easier to keep on top of things. So you just gradually add it. But it does take a long time to find that perfect balance, and it's always evolving. So I think constant ICPs are good. Which again I was doing monthly, but again I've now moved that to 2 monthly because I'm now doing MS tests. So I think they're a little bit more accurate. I do obviously do all my I do my own testing at home for calcium, magnesium, and phosphate nitrate, obviously. But yeah, I just do every other month that goes off, and then I can then customize my solutions to it if I need to add or drop it. I'm only ever mixing up a litre and a half at a time. So obviously, if I need to make any adjustments, I'll make a base mix, and then I have it all written down what I make per litre to make up for my consumption that I get on my tank, which is a really good way of doing it, actually. But you just got to make sure, obviously, if you do that, you've got to make sure your elements are compatible and you're putting them in with the right solutions.
Yeah. Right, a few more questions have popped in. Salty Sea says, my Outer Worlds Gonny is doing fantastic.
Lovely. Yeah, it's a beautiful Gonny, that one. That one's the yellower one that you saw in the picture that
okay, I was going to ask you what this one is.
That one, that's Spider-Man, that is.
Okay, I don't think I've ever seen one like that before.
No, it's really weird. I've had this conversation with a few of the guys, and you sit. A lot of people they go, "I've got a Spider-Man Gonny, and it's got orange tips," and I'm like, "Oh, I don't really understand what Spider-Man went orange." So, but to me, that looks like Spider-Man. I suppose you could call it Superman or Spider-Man or whatever name you really want nowadays. There seems to be made up.
Yeah,
you've got something quite similar though, Steve. No, that reminds me of something.
I've got an Inferno. What's the WWC name for it?
Oh, Hollywood Nights.
Hollywood Nights. Yeah,
they're lovely. They are. So you got that, or if you got the green tip, it's the Care Bear, isn't it?
Yeah. Just to quickly answer, Liam. Yes, my Amazeballs is back on the road to recovery. My Glitter Gonny, less. It's not gone, but it's not out. It's not wavy.
Is that a green glitter?
Yeah.
I really struggle with green glitters. I take so long to settle. I normally nearly end up losing them, and then I'll end up growing them back. That's how I tend to find with the greens. I've always struggled with greens. I think they prefer lower light.
Yeah.
I've got one. It's actually started doing quite well now, but I'm eating my words on that one. But that's taken probably 2.5 years to settle down and do well. Some people do really well with them. I just really struggled. The red glitter, that's another one though. That's tricky. That really gets annoyed very quickly. But I've managed to get hold of a second one on this latest lot that had come in. So because the one I'd got before, I bought it as a tiny. I think I bought it at like 7 polyps on it, and it's now nearly 2.5 years later, and it ain't even the size of a 2p coin yet. So yeah, and most of my other ones, they're chop, 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 chop all the time, you know.
Yeah. Right, we did have a few more. I'm gonna have to flick back up and down the chat now
Yeah,
to
so
try and find them. I see your comment, Harry. Yeah. Maybe 3 coral skeletons. I've got some of them I can send out.
yeah, I've got a few of them in my sump as well.
Reef builders, aren't they?
Yeah, we did the amaze balls is surviving.
I've always struggled with the amaze balls. I've got one in there that I'm actually the one that you saw in the pictures is actually a pal of mine's, and his looks amazing. Every time I get it, they just go like a dark color and look crap. So yeah, so we'll see how when he wants it back, it's probably just going to be dark. So I'll just give him any old coral out the back. Hopefully, hopefully he won't notice. Hide that one around the back.
Yeah. John's asking what filtration you have.
Do you know what? I keep everything so simple. I have a roller mat Clarity, which again I've had right from the very start. I ain't burnt the motor out yet. I have a heater and I have a return pump. That's it.
Very nice.
And a skimmer as well. That's it. I all these things that you know you can buy. I'm not saying that they don't work because I just don't use them. I use a little bit of carbon, which again I've only just started using the this is catalytic carbon.
Yeah, the
which again I've only started using in the last 6 weeks or so.
Is that the one that's supposed to basically be more gentle and not remove?
Yes, it's a lot more gentle. You start it off a lot less. I think I started off with 10 grams.
Yeah.
I'm running 30 grams, which I just change weekly. If I
Okay.
remember, to be fair, it's been 3 weeks. So I've just remembered that, so I probably should change that. But
weekly-ish.
yeah, I do get a bit forgetful with it sometimes. But it's
we're only human.
Stability is fine if you're not changing nothing's changing. As long as you're not dumping loads of food in, then the stability is it's either going that way or just slightly that way. As long as you don't do quick changes like dumping loads of the K stuff in,
K elements.
you should be good.
With your skimmer, are you using that for nutrient removal or just more for aeration and pH and stuff?
No, I do use it for nutrient removal. I think it does help. I do wet skim a little bit, which does help remove the nutrients a little bit more. But again, I don't I'm not like one where I'm changing it every 2 days. I do it over a week, and it's probably a centimetre from the top of the lip, and then I just give it a quick clean out, and then it goes back in.
Okay, so yeah, fairly wet then.
So, yeah, fairly wet. So I just try and keep things simple, to be honest. I've got a busy life. I work, obviously we all work full time, and I can't put my hands in the tanks. I get a lot of chemicals on my hands at work and on my arms from my job. So I have to be a little bit careful, which I've had issues with in the past where, put something on, I've got WD-40 on my arms or something and I've not washed it properly. So I do have to be a little bit more mindful, but I just like to keep things simple. I don't like to make it too difficult for myself, and I think if you start adding more elements into it, I think you start creating more problems for yourself.
Yeah.
What are you dosing for the main 3? Sorry if I missed it. I know you said
I use Coral Essentials products.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah.
Ever been tempted to make your own?
We're such a sucker for this, aren't we? Every time.
It's just do it yourself. I could, but then I've got to buy this, I've got to buy that, I've got to buy this, I've got to buy that, and is it really compatible? Is that compatible with that? Is that compatible with that? And then again, it's one of them things where you just start running yourself into problems. And yes, you can. Don't get me wrong, like the hobby's so expensive now, and any savings are brilliant. But I think if you, it's a lot more expensive losing a lot of coral if you do something wrong from adding the wrong thing in, or having a compatibility issue where it's not gonna settle it properly. I'd rather just use a product that is
I think there is.
Product.
I think there's a lot of people are the same. They want that peace of mind.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. At the end of the day, I've got thousands invested in corals, so what's £25 a month on product? It's less than a quarter of a frag that I've bought. It's yeah, it's just not worth it in my opinion. But that's not to say it doesn't work. I'm certainly not dissing people that do it, because it's just, for me, it doesn't work in my life. I
Yeah.
just prefer, just
I was
for
actually
peace of mind and
surprised
ease.
how easy it is to do. I'd built it
Yeah,
up
oh
in my
yeah,
head to be much harder than it is.
yeah, of course, yeah. But then it's like when you see like the manganese, like someone gave me a little powdered bag of powdered manganese. To be fair, I look like a dealer, but it was just like a little bag of powder. It had no label on it, apart from this little faded label, and it was manganese something something, started with a T. And you're like looking at it, I'm looking online, and I'm like, do you know what? I'm just going to buy manganese.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to put it in, because I didn't know whether it's compatible. I didn't know if it was the right manganese. Because there's a few different types, and yeah, not for me.
Yeah.
Sorry, I wasn't smirking at you, Pete.
No, it's all right. I can barely see it. So I've got a little tiny phone camera screen.
So another one from Economical Reefer. What does your pH typically hover around during the day and night?
So during the day, it can be 8.5 at the moment.
Oh, wow. At the moment, that's
Yeah, it
pretty
stays
good.
up quite high. I don't use a scrubber or anything, because it's only, we're in quite open plan where we are, and so it's quite a lot of air in the room. So I don't need to, and I can't actually run the skimmer intake outside, so that doesn't change either. And then during the night, it probably gets down to about 8.1, 8 to 8.1. So again, I don't really follow the pH too much. I don't think it's important, but I don't think it's the be all and end all to be that. And in fact, I think swings actually in tanks are a lot better, because it makes your corals a lot more hardy as well.
Sure, in a way.
Yeah.
As long as it's not like a swing that's from here to here, if you know what I mean. But as long as you're keeping it within your parameter, I think. But KH, I don't mind a little swing on KH, as long as it's not going over sort of 0.4. Then during the day, in the night, I try and keep it at 7.5, which at this time of day it'd be at 7.5. But when I get up in the morning, it'll be at like 7.9.
Yeah.
But again, I think that just, if the corals are used to it, stability is just. I think a lot of the hobby is more about stability than actual numbers. And I think when you start chasing numbers is when you start causing yourself problems.
That's why I run my temperature a little bit warmer. So it constantly, with the chiller, I run essentially at 26, let it get up to 27, chiller back to 26. So constantly all day it's going 26, 27, 26, 27.
Brilliant idea. Yeah, it's a good way of doing it.
In the summer, winter month, it just holds pretty steady, between 25, 26, 25, 26, 25, 26.
Yeah, and that's I don't think that's an issue at all. I mean, we've all been in the sea, and you're laying there floating in the sea, and all of a sudden you've got a big load of cold water come onto you.
Yeah,
it's exactly the same for the corals. They feel cold water, they feel hot water.
Yeah, I don't even heat my water for a water change that's been outside in the IBC. It might be 5 degrees outside.
Oh, really? Yeah,
25 litres, but.
I do that. I don't let it swing. I mean, I wouldn't do that, but that's more because I'm pumping it directly into the top of the tank, and I'm doing 60 litres in 2 minutes. I think I would see a
volume-wise that is bigger, but
exactly,
I do pour mine just in the top, so it would be 25 litres into about 500,
exactly.
Whatever it is.
That's fine. But as I say, if you've got an auto water changer, you're obviously doing that over a few hours, whereas I'm doing mine in a few minutes. So, I do heat my water up, but that's, I don't warm it right up to the full temperature. I'll probably put it up to sort of 22, 23, as long as it's close. It's, and this time of year, I don't even put the heater in it this time of year. I just chuck it in and dump it straight in, because I know the ambient temperature is about right anyway.
Yeah. When you mentioned pH, I thought, oh, I wonder what my pH is at the moment. And I went on to my Apex. And one of the things, when I dosed too much cations, it was because I'd switched the switch from auto to on. And it just dumped everything. So when I realised that, I removed the switches from my dashboard, so I can't accidentally.
I was going to say that's a bit of anything like that with me is dangerous.
Well, I've just gone to look at mine
I forget
again.
to turn on my auto top ups, and it's luckily enough, I can do that manually. So I don't really use any of the Apexes or anything like that. I do have some. I still use some of the Reef factory gear. Just me, not. I suppose I probably will change to like the Apex systems eventually, but yeah, I'm a bit of a technophobe when it comes to things like that. I just no, I can't bother with that. It's easy just to stick with what I've got. I'll wait until the service stop working, and then I might have to do something about it maybe.
Yeah. You probably can't see it on your screen, but I've just looked at mine. I don't know if Harry's noticed, but my cations, it says it's dosed.
3 mil or something.
No, 13.9 litres.
All right.
I think I see that. There we go.
I've never had anything like that with Dosh. You've had this on multiple occasions, haven't you?
It hasn't. I've just checked it. It's just dosed as normal, but the display is wrong.
That's like mine at the moment. It's still showing. So, for example, it probably won't be there now. Okay, so on my home screen, my alkalinity is 8. But if I go onto the, like this screen, my alkalinity is showing 12.28. I don't know what that's about. Something clearly needs a restart or a whatever, but it's been like that for about a week now. It just shows that the one on the home screen is right, thankfully, the 8. But yeah, it says 12.28 on the main dashboard.
I think that's probably one of the reasons why I'm a bit of a technophobe when things like that. I'm just like, I can't deal with it. I fix cars all day for a living, and you know, technology on them is fantastic, but I just, you know, you just I see it all day, every day, and when it works, it's great, but I see it when it don't work as well. So yeah, gets on my nerves. So I'd rather just keep it a little bit more simple with just a few basic bits and bobs.
Yeah.
Keeps that simplicity as well.
Yes. Right. So Graham has asked, what spectrum are the Strattons running at?
I just use the ATI program, so I'm going to be completely honest. I don't worry about. I use the LPS SPS Plus during the day. It's a super white light. I have it quite high. The reason I do that is if you go to a coral reef and look at Aquapora, they're under white light. So you know, blue light I know is beneficial. It can be. But I run the blues in the evening, so it's actually quite nice because then you see 2 different types of tanks. So you have your daytime tank and your nighttime tank, and actually I think the white light is actually a lot more important than what everyone thinks. Everyone runs blue lights all the time. You know, you go out on the reef, they don't look like that at all. You know. So although I might try it next time when I go on holiday, get some orange specks behind the old snorkeling mask and see if you can see anything, and I can guarantee you they'll look just as brown as what they do under the white light.
Yeah, and I like the white spectrum with the Strattons because the fish look so much nicer.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, yeah, completely. Like when I come home from work, it's nice at the weekend because I don't really see just as I'm coming home from work, my blue lights are just coming up. So, you know, like see my tang, it's the whitetail coal tang, and they look amazing under white light, but under blue light, they just look like brown with a white tail, and they don't look anything special. So yeah, I think anyone who's got radiant blues, fantastic lights, but you're never going to see your fish perfectly, which is I've got a radiant on the little nano tank, and fortunately I don't have too many fish in there, but the ones that I do have, I can see the colours in them, fortunately. And I do run the radiant blue. I put the whites as high as I can get them. Not that it's that white, but I do try and run in during the day with a bit of white so I can see the fish.
Stephen's asking, what do you use to monitor pH? He saw you looking in the sun.
I've just got a Reef factory pH meter, that's all.
Okay.
I would show you in the sun piece. I'm probably a bit careful because my power pack keeps. It's really dirty in here, so you have to excuse it. So I've just got all the gear in there.
Nice. Deltic skimmer.
Basic. Yeah, Deltic, fantastic skimmer.
Yes.
That's it really, and I've just got literally that one there, and looks a right mess down there. I probably should have cleaned it before I open that, but
they
the TMC doses. There you go.
Yeah, of course they are. Yeah, fantastic they are. They just work well, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why I've
Don't-
been plunged into darkness, by the way. Hopefully it's not too bad, but my light seems to have just given up. So
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I couldn't do my Stratons earlier. I was trying to do the app earlier and it just kept cutting out. I was like, oh, all the days that it don't
Oh, well.
work. And I was like, I'll try and keep them on for the night so everyone can see in the tank. But yeah, it didn't work out. You can probably actually see the tank a bit better in there. Right, lights.
Nice.
Yeah.
There's a Swiss guard just
Loads
around
of
that way.
sleeping places for
Nice.
for your
Swiss
smaller
guard
fish.
there. Can you see the fish?
Yeah, it's pretty.
Oh wow.
So I've had him for about 8 years.
Okay.
Oh wow. Yeah, you
Yes,
definitely like
you-
the things you don't see as often.
Yeah,
Like
I just, because when you've been in the hobby for 25 years, you kind of, you know, kept everything and you kind of,
Yeah.
not everything, but you know, you've the majority of your everyday fish you kind of I've kept. So,
Sure.
you know, with my nano, I just try and keep fish. I've never had that fish before, you know, so it's a bit of a rule in there that I can't have a fish that I've had before. So, strangely enough, I've never had a purple firefish. So I put one of them in.
Yeah.
I've got a Venusus angel in there.
Yeah.
The orange spot, a couple of pipefish. I did have a
What
goby,
pipefish
but
do you
he's a
have?
bit crispy. It's only a blue stripe.
Yeah. Yeah, I've
So
got a
I've
pair of
actually
them in
got
this.
yeah, I've got a
Very
pair in
nice.
this one now as well. When Rob shut his tank down, because Rob just lived around the corner from me.
All
I
right.
grabbed them on the way home from work one of the days, and yeah, I put them in the big tank. So yeah, I
He
quite
had
enjoy
an
the
extra
whitefish.
male, didn't he? He had 2 males and a female.
Oh, okay, right.
And I've
In a
got
big
his
tank like
extra
that, I
male
think
in
you.
here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Was that from his
There you
big
go.
tank, or was that the little one he had?
I think they were only in his little tank.
Oh, okay. Yeah, these ones are from
Yeah.
the little. So he done well
He's-
to keep 3 together actually in the smaller tank. I mean, if he'd have had his bigger one, he probably could have got away with quite a few pairs in there, I would have thought. But
Yeah.
from speaking to Paul at AAC, he said that they do usually fight themselves to the death, unfortunately, a lot of the blue stripes, because they're quite aggressive with each other. But
Yeah.
I do enjoy the pipefish. I did have quite a few in that tank, but yeah, work schedules and stuff like that, it was awkward to just try and keep them fed, and over time they just gradually dwindled away and ended up the blue stripes. Obviously, they're quite easy to keep, aren't they? Because
Yeah.
they're more of a reef pipe, aren't they, as opposed to the grasses and stuff. So
Yeah. Yeah, and I think they cope quite well with flow as well.
yeah, I think a lot of the flag tail ones actually do, which I think is why they do have the bigger tail. I think when you get the ones that are not like is it the dragon ones that live on the bottom, I think they're meant to be
Yes.
quite tricky.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not really. It's part of the hobby that I've never really got too far into. I did try seahorses originally.
Okay.
Oh,
The
wow.
missus really liked seahorses, so
Yeah.
and I was like, right, we'll have a little look at doing them. And then when we done them, I set the nano up for it, and we done all right for about a year. But just over time, started losing the odd one here, and then another one, and then another one, and you know, like it was just a bit heartbreaking, really, because you kind of got quite attached to them. I did
Yeah.
find them a little bit. I think probably from going from the like a chaotic reef to seahorses as well wasn't. They do this
Yeah.
most of the time.
Yeah.
And that's it, you know. And that's a good seahorse impression, admittedly, but that is literally what they did. They'd be in the Gorgonians, and you'd like 3 of them just sitting there, just bobbing around in the flow, and then you was like, well, what do I look at in the tank? Because you couldn't really put too many corals in there because they'd just sting them.
Yeah.
So, but you know, some people love them. You know, I enjoyed them when I had them, but they were a lot of work. It's a lot of water changes, a lot of food, a lot of polluting in the tank, a lot of water, water changes again, polluting the tank, water changes. It's just like that, and it's hard to put other fish in there with compatibility because obviously you've got to have stuff that's not going to outcompete them.
Sure.
And yeah, just after I lost the last one, I just said, right, that's it. I'm going to change it to a bit more of just a reef with anything in it, and as I say, just put a few nice fish in it. And yeah, and then my torches, where obviously I started collecting a lot more gonopora, I moved a lot of the torches over into there. A few of the acros that I took out of here, the faster growing ones, I was like, right, I quite like them, like the rainbow loom. It's a beautiful, beautiful aquapora. not compatible for what I want to do in this tank, but it looks fantastic in there. And actually, since it's gone in there, it's really coloured up well. And actually, strangely, it's a different colour to what it was in this tank. So you get a lot more, and you know, like a lot more deep purples on that. And a lot of people were the one that I was getting, you know, a lot of blues in the tips more so, which is quite nice. I've got Tenias in there as well. I've got a little blue Tenias growing really, really well. So yeah, it's a good tank. Again, I don't do as little maintenance as possible in that one. I just run that on all for Reef. I test the pH
John will love it.
once a week.
John will love it. He loves all for
Yeah.
Reef.
Do you know, it's brilliant stuff. And actually, I've never ICP tested it, but I don't really see, unless I can see there's an issue in there, then I probably won't bother, to be honest, because I just want it simple. It's just really to look at, like, if it's something on the telly that the missus watching I'm not that interested in, I can just have a little look over into the nano.
Nice.
Yeah.
And just see what's going on in there. You know, it's just a bit of fun, really, that tank. I don't use it as quarantine or nothing, just fun.
Yeah.
Which is what the hobby in essence should be really about. You know, this one's a lot of work, and you know, it is a lot of work, but it's a rewarding work and I enjoy it, but I couldn't do 2 tanks of that because it's just too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be fun, isn't it? I said that when we were talking before we went live. I'm like, this isn't my job. This isn't paying my bills.
Exactly. That's right. Yeah, exactly.
It has to be fun.
Yeah, exactly. The amount of money it costs us all, it's got to be fun. And if you don't, then generally most people leave the hobby, you know, and, you know, maybe when that day comes for me, then, you know, then I'll probably go into something different as another hobby. You know, we all have hobbies, don't we? Keep ourselves interested. And, you know, some of us, you know, stupidly stay in the hobby for as long as possible and drain our retirement funds.
Yeah. So John, talking of retirement funds, says, does wet skimming affect your salinity?
Taking a cup out a week, not really. It may do a little bit. I'll test my salinity with the hydrometer.
Yeah.
Doesn't swing that much. And to be honest with you, again, you go into the salt water, you can, when you're snorkeling and you're going along on any reefs that you see in the world and you get that rippling water coming across you know that the salinity is changing. So we see it on the reefs all the time. I don't think any reef is dead perfect. I think salinity in different areas, less flow, you're going to get more salinity. Salt's going to sink a little bit more to the bottom, you know.
Are you
like
not
so
snorkeling with someone and they might be having a little tiddle next to you?
Well, it might be that, yeah.
That's why it got warmer as well.
Doing it. Yeah, exactly. That's it, exactly. But no, it's I obviously removing any water is going to affect salinity, but it's the amount you remove. If I'm removing a cup a week of it, you know, in reality, how long is it before you know, how much is your auto top up changing your salinity every single day? It's going to be a minute amount, and you probably 3 squirts out of the auto top up is going to fill up your skimmer cup. So, you know, it toughens up your corals a little bit, I think, personally.
Yeah. Rama's gone straight in for the drama Rama. He says, what's been your biggest disaster? Like leaving the RO unit on? I'm guessing Rama's
Yeah, I've done that many times. Although I'm pretty good at, I'll set an alarm on my phone and I know how long it takes to do it. So I'm pretty good for that. Biggest disaster, probably not so much on this tank, because obviously where I've been reefing for quite a long time, I've learned by doing stupid things. I had low KH once. That was probably my worst one. That was in my last tank, and panicked. Decided, quick, put some in, put it in, and I put a bit more in. It ain't quite up enough, and I come down the next morning and I've lost about £600 worth of acros.
Oh man.
So yeah, but I did it once, so and learnt by it. So, you know, fortunately it wasn't. There was a lot of acro in that because there wasn't the, you know, there wasn't any of the more high-end expensive stuff, fortunately, at that time.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, everything I do now, I double check myself before I do it. I never jump in and go, right, I've got to change this quickly, because I think, again, bad move. You know, the stability is the key to everything, you know.
So Dino says, what's your most expensive coral?
Ooh, probably my big R Walt Disney, I would have thought.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you know, it's the holy grail for an acro keeper.
Yeah.
You know, I think probably in terms of my favourite coral, that's probably up there as well, to be honest with you, along with the Eco Marines Blaze, which is it's a blazing Biffinara. That's it. That's the one.
Beautiful.
So, and where
Absolutely
did you get
stunning,
this
that one.
from?
That's Eco Marines. So I bought that actually at the show, and
From
madly
Laura.
she had, yeah, from Laura. She had 2 of them at the show this year, and I told about 3 people. I went, buy that acro. I'm telling you now, buy that acro. No one
I
bought
didn't
them.
notice it because I've been trying to get one of these for probably more than a year.
Oh, really?
And I've spoken to 3 different people who said, I've got one in, here's a picture. I said, right, I have it. And then it's turned out that they've sold it to someone
Nothing like
else.
it. Oh, really?
Yeah. And then I found one, someone else like, yeah, I've got it. And I went there and it was quite a new arrival. I bought it.
Yeah.
It's in the tank. It's still alive, but it looks nothing like that.
No. With Tenius, I tend to find that, you know, when you buy a Tenius, generally they never stay like that. Very rarely. The only ones that do are the ones, the stable ones in the hobbies, like your home wreckers and Walt Disney's. You know,
Yeah.
they're your that's the sort of stuff that you're gonna, you know, continue. It's what it is. I think anything that's, I mean, I don't get mariculture corals, but that's not to say that I've bought some that have been cut off of maricultured and, you know, like, you know, but been in shops in their brood stock for quite a while. But again, I've bought some, you know, from AAC. I've bought some and I've turned them into some right little gems. Lost a few of them as well along the lines, but
Yeah.
that's Tenius for you. If you're a Tenius keeper, you've got to expect 50% of them are never going to make it, and much higher if you go for mariculture. So that's one of the reasons I don't touch mariculture, apart from pests,
Yeah.
like acro pests. You know, I just, for the sake of it, I'm not interested in taking that risk on what I've got. So yeah, I just
Growth
think
tips on there are just lovely, aren't they?
yeah, it's beautiful. It's absolutely stunning, to be fair. I actually fragged it for the first time
Yeah.
a couple of weeks ago. So I've done 2 frags off of it. So yeah, that bottom branch is now sitting in a friend's tank, and the one
Awesome.
behind it to the right, that's gone as well now. So but it's a good grower. It's been in Laura's tank. She's had that for a long time. Again, I think if you're getting Tenius, I think you need ones, and if you want to be successful with Tenius, then don't buy a mariculture one. Don't get me wrong, some of them survive and they do well, but I think long term, I think if it doesn't, you know, 6 months, most berries are generally gone. Sorry, the dog's going to start fighting in a minute. So, yeah, so I just think if you're going to keep Tenius, get stuff that's been in tanks for a long time. Local reefers, AAC have fantastic Tenius, Signature have fantastic Tenius, but they've all been in the tanks for a long time. Their broodstock it's proved itself already. You know, Paul's not going to sell rubbish. Christian's not going to sell rubbish because their business is based on selling good corals, and quite rightly, they sell great corals, all of them, and that's why I just use those for corals now, really. Or, as I say, a few local reefers that I know that a coral's been in their tank for a long time, and then straight away I'm like, what you got there? trying to get a frag of it, you know, as you do.
Yeah, Mark's saying it's a beautiful piece. Good evening,
Yes,
Mark.
absolutely
Yes,
stunning. Hi, Mark. You're
Hello,
right.
Mark. How's it going?
It is beautiful. Right, we have some more comments. Martin was saying, what reefs have you visited?
Oh, to be honest, I've only ever been in the Caribbean reefs, which are not really the reefs that we're all used to seeing. They're more more Gorgonians and stuff like that, and a few other bits. There's a few acros, the Elkhorns, which is actually, I visited one in Dominican last year, which was absolutely stunning. I only snorkel. I haven't got paddy or is it paddy or whatever it is for diving.
Yeah.
I just snorkeling, and there was an elk horn which was well over 6 foot across, and it was
Wow.
absolutely stunning. Yeah, just and it's a really slow growing coral as well. So a 6 foot one of them is, you know, that hasn't been smashed by a hurricane is really a sight to see. And it really did look like an elk horn. You know, you can see exactly why it got its name. It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've done there. Antigua, there was a few areas that I snorkeled there. Not as nice for the snorkeling there, but there was some acros. I can't remember which one it was now. It's a different type. I did look it up, but yeah, I nerd out a little bit. I go hunting. I'm more interested in fish when I go there, and if there's corals there, I'll go and find them. So I go to try and look in for certain fish and come back, tell the missus how excited I am that I've just seen something, and then I'm straight back out again. And
Yeah.
you know, and she's like, okay, whatever. Carries on reading her book.
That's very nice. Yeah.
That is love, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We've all been there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, but she's obviously followed my path for years as well. So, you know, she understands what it means to me and what have you. And yeah. So, but yeah, I will go and visit more reefs. It's just, yeah, different parts of the world I've not really been to yet. Hopefully in a couple I'd like to try Zanzibar around there, sort of trying in the Indian Ocean. I'd like to try, just have a look around there, but you can't fly direct from the UK, so it's just Ball Lake trying to get there because you have to go via about 3 different places just to get there. And
We've not spoken
so I'd
to
love sitting on
Rob.
a plane for 9 hours.
See if Rob
Yeah,
can
I
take you
should
direct
really speak
on
to him.
those,
I would like to do my paddy, and I think maybe next year, where we're going this year, the place has actually got a big diving centre and it's all inclusive, and you get all your diving tanks all included in your holiday. And I'm like, can I do me? And I'm like looking, I'm like, I've got 6 weeks to do me, because I always book late anyway. And I've got like 6 weeks to do me paddy, and I'm like, do you know what? It ain't worth it. I'll just take my fishing rods instead.
Can you not do it in one day, the paddy?
Not for open water.
Yeah, there's
they
do like weekend courses and stuff, don't they?
Yeah, you can do it like that. There's a few places local to do it, but by the time you've done that, it's a lot of money to go and do. You know, like 600 odd quid, and then the missus is going to want to do it as well, because she ain't going to want to sit on her own while we're on holiday while I'm off diving the whole time.
Yeah.
So you know, straight away you're talking another space for an holiday, isn't you? You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did there's a website called Reef Census, and it would show you pictures of coral reef, and you would click on different areas and say whether it's a soft coral, a hard coral, whether it's got any bleaching or things like that. And I just did loads and loads of these. And then every month they entered all the people that had done over a certain amount of images into a competition. And I won a $250 paddy voucher.
Oh, really?
So I've done my paddy theory.
Okay.
I just haven't booked it. I didn't fancy doing it in the swimming pool. So
yeah, you can. A lot of them they do it on
dives.
the open water, like on the lakes, the open water, and they do a lot of the lakes. And actually, there's one in over at Basildon, which is just down the road there. The Aquatels, they do it in there.
Yeah.
But again, I wouldn't be doing that probably from now onwards, because it's freezing. So not for me.
Yeah. Can you earn it like money on the side by finding dumped body parts and things?
Yeah, probably would that. If you
maybe.
make a bit of money from scrap shopping trolleys and you know, stuff like that. But yeah, no, maybe next year I might. Depends where we go next year.
Yeah.
So I'll have other priorities next year, so probably be the year after actually. But.
Yeah. John asks, are there any corals or fish that you've found that you just can't keep?
Fish wise, seahorses. Corals. I suppose over the years I used to struggle with Gonopora a lot, and then one day I put one in and it worked, put another one in and it worked, and 44 Gonoporas later, and and it's working still. So why I don't know. I do obviously dose manganese and iron. That was always my bogey one. But no, I don't think there's anything I can think of that I would say that is a bogey one. As I say, in previous times, then yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But I think once you've got everything dialed in well, I don't think, you really, we're all water keepers. We're not fish keepers or coral keepers. The corals look after themselves, and so do the fish. You just got to provide the right environments for them.
Yes.
Good evening, Christian.
Hello, mate. How's it going?
He obviously heard you saying
Yeah, he's been
signature. It's
listening.
like, you say signature 3 times in a row and he'll appear.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he heard me from all the way up north. Listen, no, but yeah, what Christian does fantastic. I mean, I went to the shop. Was it June? We went, bought a few bits up there, and yeah, honestly, just amazing. And you know, there's just not enough room in my tank for everything that I want in the shop. So, although I've got all the best bits of his now, so who knows?
Yeah.
And to be fair, he's got a few of my nice pieces as well. So, yeah. So,
well, when that upgrade comes along,
yeah, you know, I'll be back up there, no doubt.
There you go.
He'll be buying himself an M5, no doubt.
Is that just from what you buy?
Just from me, yeah, exactly. I'll pay his mortgage for a few months for him, but I won't mind. It'll look nice.
John also followed up with, what do you feed your livestock?
Good question.
Right. So corals wise, I don't actually feed at all. I was using CVE that ran out about a month ago, which is the Coral Essential CVE. Whether that's a food or not, it's a bit like the Red Sea stuff, AB plus. But that ran out about a month ago, and to be honest, I just haven't got around to replacing it. But food wise, for the fish, I buy the big blocks, and I do RS mysis or PE mysis, what you like to call it.
Nice.
Bloodworm for the copper band, because it gives a good feeding response for them, which is actually Tony gets them feeding on that. And as he described, they're like little cutlets of fillet steak for him, which, you know, any bits of protein, and he absolutely smashes them. Bit of bloodworm, brine. I put a little bit of copepods, just a small amount, put a bit of red plankton in there. So I mix it all in a bowl. I do that, and I'll do the ice cube trays, and I actually weigh out every day. So I actually got each ice, I put it on the scales, and I do 8 grams, reset, 8 grams, 8 reset, and I just keep doing that. And again, that goes down to your nutrients, you know. So, and I do rinse everything as well, apart from obviously the copepod you can't, the bloodworm you can't, and the red plankton you can't either. So I rinse everything else just to get rid of any little small particles that are going to cause any like nutrient issues. But I tend to find if you keep the same amount of food going in every single day, then I think that keeps your nutrients a little bit more in balance. Whether that's right or wrong, I don't know, but in the end it works. So, you know, you're putting in the same amount of food every day. Yeah, exactly. If you start eating more food, you're going to get fatter, aren't you? And it's exactly the same, because you're giving yourself more nutrients. It's, you know, the principle is always going to be the same, that sort of stuff. If you know.
I do think nitrate and phosphate are one of those things, because we've spoken about how in the ocean temperature can fluctuate, salinity can fluctuate. I should imagine nutrients, nitrate and phosphate specifically, are.
I think they do, but I think.
I was going to say, just doesn't fluctuate as much as
I think, yes, you're probably right, but I think when you're getting rough seas, I think that's when you're going to get, all the particulates come up. I think, you know, the sand beds are getting, so actually when you are in the ocean and you're watching them sand beds, they're moving around like everywhere. You see bits going here, and, you know, you go and step on a beach that's a little bit rough, and the sand, 1 minute it's there, and then a couple of hours later you walk out and it's another foot deeper. So, you know, all that sand moves about, and we all know what happens when you move sand beds around. It creates nutrient spikes. So I think nutrients do move in the ocean, but I think they're at a lot lower levels than what they are in the tanks. And that's, again, another reason in our tanks is, like, goes on to the mariculture side of things. You know, like if you're putting mariculture corals in, they're used to very flat, flows this way, this is that way, nutrients are like that, levels are like that, and then all of a sudden you're going in a tank and everything's like this, and, you know, but to us it's like that, but actually to that coral everything's just bouncing around and throwing itself about, and, you know, it just, I just don't think a lot of the mariculture stuff handles it. And I think when people are doing the brood stocks, like the good people that are are doing it, like Paul, like Christian, like many other shops out there that actually do all these things. You know, I think you whittle out them weaker ones that can't, like,
Sure.
that, you know, that don't take the changes, you know, and if it doesn't take the changes right, see you later, it's gone.
Yeah.
And it's gone before you even know it's gone as well. You know, I've got acros that I've lost before in the past. You know, you've got polyps coming out of it like anything, beautiful color, and you look underneath and it's stripping. So there's a reason behind that.
Yeah. Just a little bit of an information for you here. Joe's saying TUI and Air Tanzania will fly direct to Zanzibar from Gatwick.
Yes, I did actually read that, because we did look to go this year, but
There you go.
yeah, because that, yeah, next year, maybe it'll probably be the year after, because I say my daughter's wedding next year, but yeah, definitely somewhere that's on my radar.
Brilliant.
Nice. And Mark is asking, it was on my list as well, what are you using for flow in your tank?
Well, I did actually speak to Mark about the flow in the tank, and spoke with Christian about it, and I was going to put some ocean waves in it, but I don't know whether I have the room with the 4-foot tank to get the flow right at the moment. I probably will go on to the ocean waves eventually, and definitely once I do an upgrade, I'll 100% do it, because I'll have just a bit more room for that movement, because I like the idea of the bigger pump on it. When I see him at Christian's shop, that, you know, you could see the acros are absolutely loving it. Being here, I use 2 gyro 350s, which are a little bit overgunned. But
I was going to say they're quite big in that
yeah,
system.
I do run, and like the one on this side, that's on like it does a 10-second pulse and then stops for 4 seconds. So I kind of trying to make it like a wave.
Yeah.
And then I've got one in that back corner, but I've got that one mounted vertically. And then I have all the flow in all different directions.
Yeah.
So, and again, I have that just on random. And then I've just got a couple of the Jabo off Alibaba, just to add a little bit of flow here and there. So yeah, there is a lot of flow in there, but it's sort of strategic. To be honest, as I say, I'm struggling in this middle area here.
Yeah, well, that made me think when you said about it earlier, because I've got, there's one just there, and then there's another one.
Oh, you have the ocean waves, did you say? Sorry, you cut out just as you said. Yeah, I mean, they're absolutely fantastic, and 100% I will be getting ocean waves. But as I say, I think my next priority is maybe to just spread the corals out a little bit more before I put them in a little bit, and have a little bit more depth to the tank as well. Because obviously my highest acros are 5 centimeters under the surface. I'm just going to be blasting the absolute crap out of them. And
where am I? Got that problem here now.
Yeah. So, and plus as well, because I'm braceless as well, you know, it's the ocean waves. It's just very awkward, and the next tank will have a Euro bracing, so I can actually sort of just drop them slightly into the tank a little bit more and just hide them away a little bit.
Yeah, I think they're especially good if you start a tank like knowing you're going to use them, because then you can do your
exactly. That's right. Yeah, exactly.
Place your rock, appropriately away from them.
Yeah,
stuff.
but such a great idea for flow. Fantastic.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I was just saying, no more questions in the chat. What did I have? Because I think there was still a couple more. What kind of par are you running?
Well, actually, on the Blaze, sitting just above it was around about 600. So, but I hadn't actually checked it. I just, when I put them on, turn it up a bit. That looks about right. And then I borrowed a par meter about 6 weeks ago, and I reduced. And so I was looking at the corals. I'm thinking I'm probably running a little bit too much light. A few of the gonnies were quite darkening, which I think is kind of like a response to like a sunburn, sort of. I don't know for sure, but it seemed logical at the time. So I checked the par, borrowed a par meter off a good friend of mine, and I've actually reduced it down. I'm now running them at 65% and seen a little bit more growth. The colours on the acros are still all great, and the gonnies have brightened up a bit. And actually, I do like on the colours of the gonoporas as well. I've done the meal I can never pronounce the name, but the Milbra, whatever it is, the white bug treatment. I've done that. I routinely I do that now routinely every 6 months to a year, just to eliminate any issues. And yeah, amazing difference it makes to your tank. It's people are frightened to do it, but it's, you have got to follow a procedure for it. But as soon as I've done it, gonoporas, different colours coming out of them. I had a few gonies that were receding, stopped receding, started growing again. So I think there's a lot of little pest, shrimp type, copepod type things that we have in this hobby that nobody really knows about, and 100% that by doing that treatment,
I think that's more recently coming to light, isn't it? The idea of
Celine was talking about that, wasn't he?
Yeah,
and he was actually talking specifically about gonopora eating copepods, which I would suspect that judging by obviously after doing that and seeing an improvement in the gonopora, I can only suggest that they're in there.
Yeah.
So, but then if you put any wild gonoporas, because obviously, I've had a few wild gonoporas. Acro's definitely not, but gonoporas, I've put the wild ones in here. So no doubt they're coming in on stuff, and they come in on frag plugs and stuff like that. They get through dips, and even though, and even then, I don't even think the treatment for them actually fully kills everything anyway, to be honest with you, because otherwise I wouldn't need to do it every 6 months. But I do think precautionary. I think it's, anyone who keeps an acro tank, you need to be just doing it as a regular part of your maintenance. You just can't have shrimp in your tank. I'm not that fussed about that, to be honest with you. I'm not now.
Yeah. Right, John was asking what salt you use.
Well, I've always used Red Sea Blue, probably for 13, 14 years, and I bought my first bucket of the Tropic Marine Pro
I was
last
convinced
month.
you were going to go to Nios.
Yeah, me too.
No, everyone's using Nios, so I thought I'd do something a little bit different. I like to be different.
I like that.
So, and it's again though, like as I say, like with dosing products, they all do the same thing.
Yeah.
And it's, I like to use a company that's going to be a little bit more. You could probably make your own salt if you really wanted to. Why you would, I don't know, but if you wanted to, but as long as the correct traces in the correct proportions are going into a mix, then let's be honest, they all do virtually the same thing,
Yeah.
I'll do it for cheapness as well. Whatever's cheaper, to be honest. If you know what I mean, good quality. But if something is just good quality and it's £70 and there's one that's £90, is there a £20 difference? Where's the £20? Is it the packaging, or because in essence salt is salt, isn't it?
Yeah. And that was the main motivation for me when I moved to Nios. That it was cheap.
But you know what? There's fantastic salt Nios. A few friends that I know use it, and I know Christian uses it. It's good stuff, But is it any different to any other salt? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not a biologist, chemist, whatever you like call it.
Yeah. What's your favourite fish?
Oh, I would say my Swiss Guard, but that's probably in this tank is my favourite with my copper band. Yeah, and that's sentimental because my dad passed away about 8 years ago, and obviously I was a bit down in the dumps, and I went into H2O and they had the Swiss Guard in there.
Okay.
So I bought it, and it's been alive ever since. So it's kind of like a bit of a sort of like it cheered me up in a moment of darkness, and and I still got it now. And to be honest, I'd always get another one. I like a candy, but I don't think the wallet quite stretched to that. Or I might have to do a bit of fragging for that one. I'd probably have to cut the glaze down to nothing.
Yes. Yeah.
So, but unless if anyone wants to donate me one, in that tank, I'd probably say I love my Venusa's Angel, which is a boater one, and I also love my Orange Spot because it's just such a cool fish. Like no one keeps them, so it's just one of them fish that it's just unusual, just so different.
Yeah. Christian wants you to turn your lights on.
I would if the app was working. It's just messaged me telling me to turn my lights on. You've seen it enough, mate.
Mark's asking me and Harry if we're still using natural salt water. No, I found it too much of a ball ache. Keep driving down to the beach to collect it. But I believe you still are, Harry. Yeah.
I am indeed. Yeah. So mine is kind of an anti-ball ache. So rather than mixing up salt water and checking it's the right salinity and stuff, mine is dropped off at about 5-6 a.m. on a Sunday morning. They fill up the IBC and off goes the auto water change. So I don't really even see it. I ask for an ICP test now and then, but it gets to a point, I suppose, I trust the company now. They've done me right for as long as this tank's been up, which must be about 2 years now, if not more. And yeah, everything seems to be very happy with the natural seawater. And as I say, with the auto water change, there's always a little bit of traces going in, topping up daily. And I find everything, obviously it's natural seawater levels. That's what I aim for. So for me and my setup, works really nicely. I think if I were in your position, Steve, where I was having to go and collect it myself, at that point, I'd be using buckets of salt.
And I think if I had a setup like Mark's, where I had a trailer with a boat with a barrels on the back that I could reverse down a boat ramp and dump it in the sea and pump it in, I would probably still be doing it. But the fact that I was doing a bucket on a rope and then pouring it into a 25-litre container and then carrying them back to the car. Yeah, I ain't doing that anymore.
See, I personally, natural salt water, for me, I just think it's too much risk of contamination. If I was to do it, I would personally run a pump in what I've got. I'd pump it with carbon in it just to make sure there's no contaminants in it. As you say, you're reversing down a boat ramp. What comes out the back of boats? Oil.
Yeah, so the stuff I'm using
is... You do an ICP test, that's never going to tell you you've got oils, you've got...
Sure.
You go and have a look at what's in fuel for boats. It's, it ain't never going to go well in a reef tank long term. You might put minute traces of it in, but give it time.
Might accumulate.
I think it's an accident waiting. Yeah, exactly. Unless you're running heavy amounts of carbon, which I don't think you should run heavy amounts of carbon either.
Anyway,
I've literally only just started using carbon after 6 years. And don't get me wrong, my water quality has definitely looked a lot more clearer, and the clarity is a lot nicer. But no reef in the world runs carbon. So, and when you actually look across a reef or whatever, they're never clear water. It's never perfectly clear.
Yeah. So I do think there's a difference between collecting it yourself, unless you're going to collect and do as these companies do, but they collect from the Jurassic coast. And
exactly,
they go
that's
out
right.
Then...
they're 7-8 miles out of sea, 100%. Much better. But I think if you're collecting it locally, I couldn't go to the South End and collect it because I don't know what would be in there, and there'd probably be quite a few things floating around in it. But even if you went out, we're an island. We're pushing a lot of fresh water out. Not at the moment, obviously, but in the winter we're pushing a lot of fresh water out into the sea. And I don't think it's ever going to go well, to be honest with you. Not in a long-term situation. Maybe if a company's running it through carbon or actually filtering it properly, and then obviously you have them trace issues have been taken out of it as well. You're running heavy carbon, so.
Yeah, these guys apply to the food industry, so it's all like processed as well before, just to ensure.
Exactly. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I just, for me, I've got too much investment in my tank to run a risk of any contaminants getting into it. I have enough trouble with my hands from my job, so and I try and keep my hands out as much as possible. I'll scrub them before I put them in now, which in the past I haven't done, and it's never ended well.
Yeah.
Well, I can only guess it's that, you put your hands in and then, you're like, oh, shouldn't have done that. And then a couple of weeks later, something's dead, but you don't know whether it was that or you don't. And, if you take that factor out of it, then it's not that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Economical Reefers saying, what are the three most important trace that you dose? And what ones give you the colour?
Do you know what? I think as long as you keep your traces where they should be within the parameters, and you don't swing them around, I don't think that makes much difference in terms of your traces as long as they're in the correct specifications.
Yeah.
I think more nutrients, I think is more. I think if you run slightly higher nutrients, I think you can pull your colours better. But then some people do pull them with less nutrients. But I think, yeah, if you know the traditional days where everyone went, oh, you've got to have your phosphate under 0.03, you got to have your nitrates at less than 0.2, and you like, you know, like zeolite systems and all that. Nah, not for me. It just washes everything out. Run a little bit of nutrient. And it's not for everyone. It doesn't work for every single tank, but for my tank, I find if my nutrients start dipping, I start noticing colours dropping, especially nitrate. I think nitrate is a quite a nice tool for colour. I think if you run slightly higher with your nutrients, so nitrates, then definitely I think you'll see an improvement in colours.
Yes.
And again, consistency. To keep that consistency there. So, and I work a lot for consistency, and I just try and keep everything the same every single day.
Yeah.
Right down to your 8 grams of food. That's impressive. That
8 grams of food, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Sometimes 9 if I'm feeling a bit
frivolous.
You know, that's usually if I've made too much and I've run out of ice cube trays, they'll get an extra gram each. So yeah, but it's not, as I say, that's not, you know, it's not exact, but it's, you know, I try to keep it. It's just, and I only make it once every 45 days for the amount of ice cube trays I've made.
Yeah,
and yeah, I'll just do it, and it's exactly the same every time. So I even weigh like each. Seems silly, but I weigh. It does sound silly when I'm doing it, but you know, I use that much RS mycis, that much Rostane, that much that much that. So you know, I just think it's a good mix for the fish as well. A little bit of nori once in a while for the fish as well.
Yeah. Awesome.
Excellent. Well, it's been fascinating to hear about your tank, and it's such an amazing tank. I was like I said, I saw it on Instagram and I was like, holy shit, we've got to get this guy on.
It's a lot of work though to get there though, to be fair. And you know, if everyone put in the same amount of time as I put into the tank, you know, I've no doubt their tanks would look, you know, as good as that. You know, I don't have kids at home anymore, they've all moved out now. So, you know, my evenings are kind of me and my missus, and you know, when she's upstairs getting ready for bed, I'm downstairs sorting the tank out and staring into it, you know, and trying to make it look as nice as possible.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, just you don't need to go mad testing everything all the time. Just keep your consistency, keep your everything how you want to keep it, and and sometimes you just got to go, you know, balls deep and go for the best corals you can, and just see how it happens. You know, if you lose it, you lose it. It's just you know, but if you keep everything right, you ain't going to lose it. You know.
Yeah, I must admit, I'm starting, or I was starting to get a bit more of an appetite for risk. Having since fucked things up good and proper and lost a lot of stuff, I'm a bit cautious again. But yeah, I'm getting to that point now where I'm not buying a coral every time I go to the shop. So what I want to get is every now and then get something that's super sexy.
Yeah.
And that's right. And at the end of the day, you know, you look at it every single day, you know, and I look at mine every single day. You know, the only time anyone comes and sees my tank is if they're coming around for a frag, or, you know, and that's not as often as I'd like to. But, you know, my kids come around, they don't even look in the tank. They're not, you know, my daughter's fairly interested in it. But, you know, most of the people that come around, they go, oh, nice goldfish. You know, it's, you know, it's for myself, really, you know, that I think just over time, I think you just, you know, you develop more of a taste for the nicer bits. But I think you get that as you know, I've been doing it since 2001. So, you know, I'm not going to go and get a barley slimer. Absolutely stunning coral. But for me, it grows too fast. It's going to dominate the tank. I've not got the depth for it. You know, there's a time and a place for a coral like that. And I think over the years, I've now learned that actually, you know, I don't want to it's not that I don't want to keep them. It's just I want to be very selective with what I keep and what I want to look at in the evening. I want to look at and go, wow, that's looking
Yeah.
spectacular today.
Yeah.
You know?
Awesome.
And you're only going to do that by putting nicer pieces in there. For me, you know, everyone's different. You know, a soft
It
coral tank is
certainly
just
looks
as beautiful as
spectacular.
what mine.
Yeah.
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 It's just, you know, but to that person who's keeping the soft coral tank, he thinks it's probably just as beautiful as I think mine is, and make him right, it is just as beautiful as what mine is, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you very much for coming
Yes.
on and sharing with us.
No worries
Thank
at all.
you, Harry, for joining. Don't go anywhere, Pete. When I click end, there'll be a bit of a delay. Once we're not live anymore, I'll add us back to the stage and we'll just wrap it
Yeah,
up
no problem,
in
mate.
the green room afterwards. So,
Yeah, no
yeah,
worries at all.
thank you very much
Brilliant.
both
Thanks
for
for having
joining.
me on the show, and yeah, if anyone feel free to give me a follow on Instagram, or I do a few TikTok videos as well. I think it's UK Coral Reefer, I think. Not even
Is
sure
that
the name.
your Instagram as well?
Oh, okay.
No, my Instagram is the same as
It's
that
with
there,
thumbnail.
Newson's Reef, yeah, with a little
Yeah.
underscore in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, feel free to give us a follow. I do tend to put a lot of coral photos up there, just of, you know,
Nice.
just a nice top down of an acro, or, you know, stuff like that, anything new in the tank, you know. So, and watch it grow over about 2 or 3 years from that big to that big, you know. But high end acros
Yeah.
for you, that's what happens, isn't it? So, you know,
Yeah.
part of the fun, isn't it? That's why we do it.
Yep. Brilliant. Well,
Brilliant.
thank you very much. And I'll see
Cheers.
everyone next week.
Take
Bye.
care all.
Thank
Cheers.
you.